Hello everyone! Today we'll discuss our predictions for the top 10 broken League of Legends champions. League of Legends and Riot has been releasing new champions every year without fail. Even though many of these League of Legends champs appeared ordinary upon release, some champions released by RYZE were just plain broken. So let's not waste much time and begin our list. Bringing in number 10 is GWEN, the HALLOV seamstress. GWEN is entertaining to play and has exceptional outplay potential. Her mobility and damage allow for a controlled and diverse. Upon her release, players could only describe the experience of playing against her as miserable. Her combos allow her high burst and overtime damage outputs. Her evasive W is overpowered, allowing her to be untargetable when she remains inside and enemy champions outside her mist. GWEN must also build ability power and attack damage, making her synergy with the team's composition high. One of GWEN's most significant drawbacks is her weak scaling, and this may be due to her being new, hence needing some number of adjustments in future patches. At number 9, we have IRELIA Blade Dancer. IRELIA is a champion that has made many players question their sanity. The Blade Dancer used to dominate any early game she was in, and 1v1 by slashing through minions waves like knives through a banana. Even though receiving several significant nerfs in patch 11.14, IRELIA gains stacking bonuses, speed, and she strikes her enemies down with her spells. With a maximum stack, she also gains a bonus damage on hits. IRELIA heals herself while moving forward to strike her target. If the target is marked or dies to the blade surge, its cooldown refreshes. IRELIA charges a strike that deals more damage as she captures. She takes reduced physical injury during the charge. She can stand out 2 blades that coverage on her. IRELIA fires a massive number of blades that explode outward upon hitting a champion. Enemies hit by the blades are damaged and marked afterwards. The blades form a wall that will damage slow enemies that walk through it. Number 8 is ZHAO. ZHAO is a champion that has a good time while making your life miserable. On top of a RNG, the ability to one shots from a long range and by using your weapons against you. The trickster also has a pretty loud mouth personality. She can also redirect missiles she fired, dealing more damage the longer it flies in a straight line. She can cause targets to become drowsy, then fall asleep. The first source of damage that breaks asleep is double, up to a cap. Although Riot's half-hearted attempt to rein her, ZHAO stayed broken for a good long while before finally receiving a massive nerf in patch 8.16. Our 7th pick is VIEGO, RUNE King. VIEGO is a champion deemed unbalanced by players, and they feel the designer was proud of it. One of VIEGO's most astonishing abilities is a possession. He's able to take over a dead player's body, use a percentage of their health to regenerate himself, and then use their item's basic attack and abilities. VIEGO is a punisher who would make sure that his enemies have learned their lesson. VIEGO's Spectral Blade passively deals bonuses, percents current health damage on hit strikes twice versus enemies he recently hits with an ability, stealing their health. VIEGO can charge himself before dashing forward, releasing a ball of concentrated mist that stuns the enemy first hit. He was hit with a heavy nerf in patch 11.17, including a reduction to his auto attack range. Number 6 is DARIUS, Hand of Nexus. He is a champion who can make lane versus anyone and anything. DARIUS is a champion who can take a big hit and give back even bigger hits. Darius's attack and damaging abilities cause the enemy to bleed for physical damage for over 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. His ability to attack multiple targets with one swing is his main highlight. Darius winds up and swinging his axe in a wide circle. Enemies struck by the blade take more damage than those hit by the handle. His attack strikes an enemy crucial artery. Their movement speed is lowered until they bleed out. Darius hones his axe, passively causing physical damage to ignore a percentage of his target's armor. When activated, Darius sweeps up his enemies with his axe hook and pulls them to him. At number 5, we have AKALI, Rogue Assassin. AKALI was an easy champion to control, and she was not particularly effective in pro plays. Still, after a massive rework in 2018, AKALI turned into an absolute beast. AKALI was a flashy champion and had a very bloated kit, due to which she had been nerfed, as always, by Riot. Using spell damage to a champion creates a ring of energy around them. Exiting the ring empowers AKALI's next auto attack with bonus range and damage. She throws out 5 kunais, dealing damage based on their bonus attack damage, ability power, and slowing. glowing. AKALI can drop a few cover smokes and briefly gain movement speed while inside the shroud. AKALI becomes invisible and unable to be selected by enemy spells and attacks. Our fourth pick is RYZE, the RUNE mage. He is considered one of the most accomplished sorcerers in Runeterra. RYZE is an old, hard-bitten archmage with an impossibly heavy burden to bear. RYZE's spells create extra damage based on his bonus mana, and he gains a percentage increase to his maximum mana based on his ability power. Passively, RYZE other game's abilities resets the cooldown of Overload and Charge a Rune. When RYZE casts Overload with 2 runes charge, he gains a brief burst of movement speed. RYZE traps a target in a cage of runes, damaging them and lowering their movement. If the target has flux on it, they are instead rooted. Inevitably, RYZE was nerfed, and his Q's passive shield and damage were lowered. The spell flux cooldown was increased, and his roots were made shorter. And our number 3 pick is Twisted Fates, the Card Master. He is an incredibly broken champion, so much that the champion saw a 100% ban rate in competitive play. During their early seasons, the version of Twisted Fates has been known as the most broken champion the league has ever seen. Twisted Fate rolls his lucky dice upon killing a unit, receiving a 1-6 bonus gold. He can throw 3 cards, dealing damage to each enemy until they pass through. The Card Master chooses a magic card from his deck that uses for his next attack, causing a bonus effect. Twisted Fate predicts the fortunes of his foes, revealing all enemy champions and enabling the use of a gate, which teleports Twisted Fates to any target locations in 1.5 seconds. Sitting at number 2 is ZHAO, the SENESCHAL of DEMACIA, the champion who defined what it is meant to be broken upon release, and every other champion that had come after ZHAO was known as XC 2.0. His base attack speed was high and had enormous base damage. He could easily take on multiple opponents and win with ease. Every third attack deals bonus damage and heals ZHAO. ZHAO's subsequent 3 standard attacks deal increased damage, with the lowered attack knocking an opponent into the air. ZHAO slices in front of him with his spear, then thrusts forward, allowing affected enemies and mark them as challenged. ZHAO charges at his enemies, gaining an increased attack speed and dealing damage to all enemies in the area, slowing them briefly. Audacious charge gains increased range against challenged targets. And that brings up to our top pick, APHELIOS, the weapon of the faithful. APHELIOS had a unique feature, and his kits was different from others that Riot had created. He could switch between 5 different guns and abilities, and each one of those guns also gave him another ult, depending on which one the champion was using. He had a remarkable ability to one-shot the entire team, and one of those ults, the main highlight is his greatest weapon, Confusion. Despite a hot fix released just after a few days, he continued to create chaos for 1 more year, and didn't have any balance at all until he went through 9 consecutive rounds of nerf. To this day, APHELIOS remains the greatest champion of Riot and number 1 on our list. So that's it guys, that's our prediction for the top 10 broken LOL champions. Do let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Until then, bye bye.